Okay, welcome. This evening, we're going to start out with a public hearing. We have a public hearing for the proposed amendments to the SPD 1 development guidelines, which includes the proposed Acme site, the MMHA senior housing development, the Beacon Park condominiums, and vacant commercial land, to include the alteration of uses, modifications of development standards, additional site access, clarification on landscaping standards, sign requirement adjustments, and simplification of design standards. Mr. Dutton, do you want to explain it before I ask those in favor and those against?
Sure, thank you. So these are amendments to Special Planning District 1, or SPD 1, which was established in 1999 for 42 acres at the northwest corner of Worcester Pike and High Point Drive. So special planning districts include two main things. One is a concept plan. So it's basically a map that has sections of the site, which different regulations apply. This one has A, B, and C. Two of them are commercial, and one is residential. Residential portion being built out by the Ryan Homes and the MMHA housing project. The second part is development guidelines that go along with the map. So these are specific items that address development standards, landscaping, signage, and design. So what these amendments propose are changes to these development guidelines, predominantly to four main sections. One is uses. So existing commercial uses in the development guidelines are limited and outdated. They include things like video stores and travel agents. So what the amendments do is default the uses to our zoning code, which is amended from time to time with certain exemptions. So this makes it easier to use as current uses. There are changes to the signage section. There are a number of areas where the code references were incorrect or outdated. Those have been corrected and brought up to speed. And it also allows the grocery anchor to have 5 wall signs rather than 2, which is common for larger anchors or retail stores. Access to the site has been modified as well. So there's 3 rights of way that the site abuts. So access is allowed in the amendments, one on Route 3 or Worcester Pike at the discretion of ODOT, as ODOT controls the entire right-of-way in this situation. One on Mass Parkway, which is the cul-de-sac that loops behind the site. And High Point Drive increases access points from 1 to 3. This is to facilitate traffic for truck traffic to the rear of the building, grocery store access, as well as access to future development and outlets. Design standards were also simplified and clarified to make the project more workable. I'll add the Planning Commission review these amendments at their November 9th meeting and recommended approval. Thank you.
Thank you. So at this time, is there anybody that wishes to speak in favor of the proposed amendments? Okay, is there anybody that wishes to speak against the proposed amendments? Hearing none, the public hearing is closed. At this time, I'd like to call the January 8th, 2024 council meeting to order. If you please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Coin.
Here.
DeSalvo. Hare.
Here.
Hazeltine.
Present.
Rose.
Here.
Shields.
Here.
Simpson.
Here.
Reading of the minutes.
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields.
I move that the minutes of the meeting of the regular meeting of December 11, 2023 as prepared and submitted by the clerk be approved.
Second.
Any discussion on the minutes? Will the clerk please call the roll on the approval of the minutes?
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Okay. Reports of standing committees. The Finance Committee met prior to council and will meet again in 2 weeks. Health, Safety, and Sanitation. Mr. Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. President. No meeting scheduled, nothing to report.
Public Properties. Mr. Shields.
Thank you, Mr. President. No meeting scheduled and no report this evening.
Special Legislation. Mr. Rose.
Thank you, Mr. President. No meeting scheduled and nothing to report.
The streets and sidewalks, Ms. Hare.
Thank you, Mr. President. No report and nothing scheduled.
And water and utilities, Ms. Hazelton.
Thank you, Mr. President. Nothing new to report and no meeting scheduled at this time.
Okay. Requests for council action. We have several for the Finance Committee. We have 24-1, 2024 tax advance request, 24-2, repeal ordinance 207-23, increase PO 2023-1706 WISE waterproofing, 24-3, expenditure of $35,000 Akron uniform for the police department, 24-4, expenditure over $20,000 to Huntington Bank Police Department, 24-5, expenditure over $20,000 to Fire Safety Services Fire Department, 24-6, expenditure over $20,000 to Armstrong Cable IT Department, 24-7, expenditure over $20,000 to Technology Engineering IT Department, 24-8, adopt multi-use plan, 24-9, Architect Design Services Agreement, Medina Municipal Court, 24-10, capital improvement purchase order, MCRC, and 24-11, budget amendments. Reports of municipal officers. Mayor Hamwell.
Thank you, Mr. President. 2024 looks to be a busy year for the city of Medina, with many of the development projects planned to be starting soon. This includes, but is not limited to, the Myers store at the old Kmart site, the Acme store at the corner of South Court and High Point, the Rose Properties development between the Sully's patio and the Federal, the hotel in the 200 block of South Court Street on the west side, and the design and remodel of the 1969 courthouse on the square for Medina Municipal Court operations. The annual Martin Luther King Jr. celebration this year will be 7 p.m. a week from today, Monday, January 15th, at the United Church of Christ Congregational. The featured speaker will be Pastor John Hunter of Truth and Love Church, Brunswick, Ohio, and this is open to the public, and I hope to see you there. The 30th Annual Medina Ice Festival by Elegant Ice will be held on the square February 16th through 19th of 2024. And last, just want to wish all a very happy and blessed new year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Durham, Director of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. President. There are a number of items on the agenda that originated with finance that I will address when we get to them.
Thank you, Mr. Huber, Law Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report.
Thank you, Mrs. Marshall, Economic Development Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. With the new year comes our new round of ribbon cuttings, and we've got a couple scheduled for January 19th. The first one's actually a public project, which is the Medina Rec Center Fitness Edition and Leisure Pool Ribbon Cutting. That'll be held at 1 p.m. at 855 Weymouth Road. That was the project that was completed as part of our capital bill funding that we received from the state a couple years ago. And then the second ribbon cutting is for Saeo Bella Beauty Bar, located at 503 South Court Street, suite number D, or letter D. And the ribbon cuttings are a joint effort between Main Street Medina as well as Medina Chamber of Commerce. So we hope that you'll be able to join us. And then the second item is, if you are receiving our weekly newsletter, you'll notice it has a new look to it. And just wanted to thank Sarah Tome in our office for the help with the redesign. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Kinney, Police Department.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report.
Thank you, Mr. Gladys, Building Official.
Thank you, Mr. President. We continue to see investment in North Court. Several new businesses will be opening soon, and then there's another new restaurant that's going to be moving into a vacant space. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Bacoli, Service Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Worley, Parks and Recreation Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just two quick things to report from the Rec Center. Yesterday, January 7th, we changed our Sunday hours at the Rec Center. We're now open at 8 a.m. instead of 10 a.m. So looking forward to that change. It was requested by many of our patrons through a survey that we did. Secondly, our youth basketball season started this past Saturday. We have over 600 kids signed up for our first session, and that'll run for the next 6 weeks through February 13th. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Patton, City Engineer.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report this evening.
Thank you, Chief Walters.
Thank you, Mr.
Fire
President. I
Department.
have no report.
Thank you, Mr. Dutton, Planning and Community Development Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report.
Thank you. Confirmation of council appointment. We have Patrick Patton to NOACO representative for 2024.
Move to confirm council appointment.
Second.
Any discussion on the council's appointment? Will the clerk please call the roll on the confirmation of council's appointment?
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Motion by council to authorize a designee for public records training. At this time, I entertain a motion to designate the clerk of council and/or the deputy clerk of council to act as the mayor, the finance director, and city council's designee to attend public records training as required by sections 149.43 and 109.43 of the Ohio Revised Code.
I'll make a motion to designate and authorize the designee for public records training be our clerk of council and our deputy clerk of council.
Second.
Any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the motion?
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Notices, communications, and petitions, there are none. Unfinished business. Ordinance 200-23.
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields?
I will make a motion that ordinance 200-23 be read by title only tonight and then placed before council for discussion as the second of 3 readings.
Second.
Ordinance 200-23, an ordinance amending the Special Planning District Number 1, SPD 1 Development Guidelines pertaining to South Court Village. Any discussion? Mr. Dutton, I think you talked about this in our public hearing.
Correct. Yes, these are the amendments to SPD 1. I really don't have anything further to add.
I only had one email comment. I think we all received it just regarding the number of access points off of High Point Drive. I think that after discussing and knowing a little bit about it, I think the added access points are necessary to aid in the free flow of traffic. I think specifically for truck traffic and for the use of, I think, a bank drive-through.
Or drive-through pharmacy.
Or drive-through pharmacy, I'm sorry, to make it easier for individuals to access that and get in and out in an expeditious manner. And of course, the one access off of High Point to access the outlet. So I think there's valid reasons for them, and I think it may aid in the access off of High Point rather than discourage and have more conflict points just because of ease of points. Mr. Rose?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I brought that specific subject up at the planning meeting back in November. And after some discussion, those points were brought up, and the mayor used his, I guess he had a little bit of experience as a police officer in town. And he used that experience to say that this type of exit will actually help us with the traffic flow in the area. So, yes, it was. We did take it under consideration. We discussed it and decided that the proposed 3 openings are appropriate.
Thank you. Any further discussion or comment on those items? Or any other item? All right, introduction of visitors. Members of the public were permitted the opportunity to speak on any issue or concern which pertains to the city during a portion of the council agenda devoted to interested visitors. All comments shall be directed to the chair, and a reasonable time limit will be imposed. Of approximately 5 minutes will be imposed. If there's a group, please appoint a spokesperson. Speakers should report to the rear microphone and state their name and address so it can be entered into the minutes. Members of the public will be afforded the opportunity to comment on other portions of the meeting as determined by the chair or by a vote of the majority of council members present. Is there anybody that wishes to address council at this time? It's the new year, you can do it. Somebody has to be the first one of the new year. Anybody? No takers? All right. We'll move on. Introduction and considerations of ordinances and resolutions. At this time, I entertain a motion to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings on the following ordinances and resolutions. Ordinance 124, 224, 324, Resolution 424, Ordinance 524, Resolution 624, Ordinance 724, 824, 924, Resolution 1024, Resolution 1124, 1224, and finally, Ordinance 1324.
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields?
I will make a motion to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings of tonight's ordinances and resolutions.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion to suspend the rules of requiring 3 readings? Will the clerk please call the roll on the motion?
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Ordinance 124, An ordinance authorizing the expenditure to Epic Aviation for the purchase of a Jet A fuel at the Medina Municipal Airport.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion.
Mr. President.
Mr. Shields.
The emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it this time.
My second includes the emergency clause.
Discussion on the emergency clause and the ordinance. Mr. Durham, you're the first one of the year.
Thank you very much. This is to authorize purchase of jet fuel, which we resell. And the amount, as I always remind you, is, it's a guess, because we don't know what fuel prices are going to be. We look at past years, but obviously if fuel prices go up, we'll be back, we'll need more money. If fuel prices go down, we won't use all this. Finally, the emergency clause is so that we can refill the tank as soon as necessary.
Thank you. And just remind everybody, this is for the, we purchased through, with city dollars, the fuel tank, and I think we're almost paid back. There's 100 and some thousand left, but we're getting closer to it. I think the original price of the tank was $350,000, and we have a new operator at the airport, so we're hopeful that maybe this can, you know, spur additional purchases of jet fuel, and we're doing other things to hopefully increase the usage of jet fuel in addition to aviation fuel that's non-jet fuel related. So, any other questions? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the emergency clause?
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Ordinance 124 passes 6-0.
Ordinance 224, an ordinance authorizing the payment to Green Home Solutions for the private home rehabilitation at 520 North State Road as part of the fiscal year 22 CHIP grant program.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion.
Mr. President.
Mr. Shields.
The emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it this time.
My second includes the emergency clause.
Discussion on the emergency clause and ordinance. Mr. Dutton.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a purchase order request to Green Home Solutions for a chip rehab project at 520 North State Road. The project is a contract for $50,065. Exterior work includes new gutters, downspouts, windows, and doors. Interior work includes new appliances, water heater, smoke detectors, a full bathroom remodel, and updated electric. The emergency clause is requested as the contractor is ready to begin the project and make repairs on the home. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions on the emergency clause and or the ordinance? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the emergency clause?
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Ordinance 224 passes 6-0.
Ordinance 324, an ordinance authorizing the payment to Green Home Solutions for the private home rehabilitation at 850 North Huntington Street as part of the fiscal year 22 CHIP grant program.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. President.
Mr. Shields?
Emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it this time.
My second includes the emergency clause.
Discussion on emergency clause in the ordinance. Mr. Dutton.
Thank you, Mr. President. Again, this is another purchase order to Green Home Solutions for private rehabilitation at 850 North Huntington. Contract is for $40,575. Exterior work includes new gutters, downspouts, reconstruction of a concrete patio, windows, and doors. Interior work includes doors, ceiling repair, appliances, updated electrical throughout. I'll note this project will be utilizing our CHIP LAP funds, which is a lead abatement program. We received additional funds for this, and we're filling it out here. The emergency clause is requested as the contractor is ready to begin the project. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the ordinance and the emergency clause? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the emergency clause?
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Ordinance 324 passes 6-0.
Resolution 424, resolution requesting the county auditor to make tax advances during the year 2024 pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 32134.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion.
Mr. President.
Mr. Shields.
The emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it this time.
My second includes the emergency clause.
Discussion on the resolution and emergency clause. Mr. Durham.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is, as it states, to request that they make tax advances of the real estate taxes. We have to make the request in order to get the advances. The emergency clause is so that we can get the advances as soon as possible.
Any further discussion on the resolution or emergency clause? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the emergency clause?
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Will the clerk please call the roll on adoption of the resolution?
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Resolution 424 passes 6-0.
Ordinance 524, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an engineering and surveying agreement with Cunningham and Associates for engineering design services for the Medina Street Bridge Replacement Project.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion, Mr. Patton.
Thank you, Mr. President. The city received a grant of a little over $485,000 to replace this bridge, the Medina Street Bridge. We went through a qualification-based selection process and are recommending Cunningham and Associates for this work. Cunningham previously completed very successfully the bridge designs for Spring Grove and North Broadway.
Any further discussion on the ordinance? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Ordinance 524 passes 6-0.
Resolution 624, resolution authorizing the filing of an application for grant assistance from the Ohio Department of Development for a water and wastewater infrastructure grant.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion.
Mr. President.
Mr. Shields.
The emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it this time.
My second includes the emergency clause.
Discussion on emergency clause and resolution. Mr. Patton.
Thank you, Mr. President. We would like to submit this grant to secure funds to replace water lines on South Court Street and West Liberty. The total project is $832,000. We're requesting 90% of that, or $74,800. The city's share would be 10%, or $83,200 for this. Emergency clause, we submitted this in early December, but because there's only one meeting in December, we're here today, and the grant is due on January 17th.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the resolution or emergency clause? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the emergency clause?
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the resolution?
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Resolution 624 passes 6-0.
Ordinance 724, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute a memorandum of understanding with the Medina County Board of Commissioners pertaining to the Granger Ward water line and repealing ordinance number 16823 passed October 23rd, 2023.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion, Mr. Patton.
Thank you, Mr. President. Council previously authorized this MOU. However, after their approval, the county came back and requested some minor changes. So that's why we're asking to repeal that previous MOU and adopting this one.
Any further discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Ordinance 724 passes 6-0.
Ordinance 824, an ordinance authorizing the payment to Software Solutions, Inc., SSI, for the annual support services for the city's VIP professional accounting system.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion, Mr. Durham.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is annual maintenance support, and it's allocated to departments based on seats that they have to view the information.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Clerk, please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Ordinance 824 passes 6-0.
Ordinance 924, an ordinance authorizing the increase of the expenditure to Wise Waterproofing for the fiscal year 20 chip rehabilitation at 30 Circle Drive, repealing ordinance number 2007-23 passed December 11th, 2023.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion.
Mr. President.
Mr. Shields?
The emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it this time.
My second includes the emergency clause. I'm sorry.
Discussion on the ordinance and emergency clause. Mr. Dutton.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, this is an ordinance to correct previously passed ordinance 207-23 and repeal it, to correct the account number to 137-0460-52215 and the contractor to Wise Waterproofing. Thank you.
Any further discussion on the ordinance and emergency clause? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the emergency clause?
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Ordinance 924 passes 6-0.
Resolution 1024, a resolution appointing Councilman Denny Simpson as the city representative to the Medina County 911 Program Review Committee.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. President.
Mr. Simpson.
I'm going to abstain from this vote.
Oh, you
since-
are?
Yeah,
You can always vote no.
I know.
Can I?
Well, this is the resolution that appoints Mr. Simpson on the Medina County 911 Program Review Committee. I think there are the 2 other cities and 5 villages that need to confirm Mr. Simpson to be a representative of a city representative on their behalf. And so we're, of course, appointing him from the city of Medina, so I think you may make it. Yeah, see that. Anybody have any other
We'll see.
questions? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the resolution?
Hazeltine,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Shields,
Yes.
Simpson,
Abstain.
Coin,
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Resolution 1024 passes 5 yeas, 1 abstention.
Next, we have Resolution 1124, a resolution appointing Councilwoman Reggie Hare as the city representative to the Medina County Planning Commission and Councilman Jim Shields as the alternate.
Move to approve?
Second?
Discussion.
Mr. President,
Ms. Hare?
I will need to abstain from this, please.
Well, I don't know if we all can abstain because then this wouldn't pass. So you're not allowed
There's
to
no,
abstain.
right, I'm not going to abstain.
Okay. Mr. Shields, we understand your reservations of appointing yourself, but we need you in this vote. Otherwise,
We need you.
we're not going to have a vote because we're missing another council representative.
We would have 4. but-
Is there any other, anybody else that has any other discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the resolution?
Rose,
Yeah, okay, yes.
Shields,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Coin,
Yes.
Hare,
Abstain.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Resolution 1124 passes 5 yeas, 1 abstention.
Resolution 1224, a resolution expressing the intent to sell municipally owned property which is no longer needed for public use or which is obsolete or unfit for the use of which it was acquired by internet auction during the calendar year 2024.
Move to approve?
Second?
Discussion. Yes, Mr. Pacoli, you like the auctions.
I'm not sure who submitted that, so I think
It's
the
just
clerk.
an annual
It's just
thing.
annual.
I know, but we'd like to hear you say something about it.
I'm all about it. If
Okay.
we could do an internet auction rather than going to the garage, so
I figured.
thank you,
would.
Kathy.
Okay. All right, any further discussion on the resolution? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the resolution?
Shields,
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Resolution 1224 passes.
And finally, this evening, ordinance 1324, an ordinance amending ordinance number 19023, passed November 28th, 2023, amendments to the 2024 budget.
Move to approve?
Second?
Discussion, Mr. Durham.
Thank you, Mr. President. People at home may be wondering why we're amending the budget barely a week into the year. These are amendments because of money that came in that is passed through, so we have to pass these appropriations in order to spend the money, pass it through.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of ordinance?
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Ordinance 1324 passes 6-0.
Council comments?
Go ahead.
Ms. Eric, go ahead.
I just want to wish everybody a safe and happy and healthy 2024, and I look forward to working with my fellow council members and the administration to make this a good year. Thank you.
Mr. Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to start out the new year right by saying, be kind to one another. I mean, it's such an easy task. This is going to be a trying year for a lot of people, not just because of politics, but there's a lot of people that are in need. Look out for your neighbor and be safe. Happy New Year, and be kind to one another. Thank you.
Mr. Rose.
Thank you, Mr. President. Happy New Year.
That's it? That's it. Okay, we'll take it, I guess. Yeah. All right, if there's nothing else, the meeting is adjourned.
Good job.